Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to Trek on the Tube and welcome back to yet another Star Trek review. Today we're talking about Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 5, An Embarrassment of Duplas. That's right, our animated journey continues. Before we begin though, let me just say, this video will probably be like 80 or 90% Easter eggs because when it comes to my thoughts and opinions, I don't have that much this time around. But when it comes to Easter eggs, there are so many, it's insane. Anyway, here goes. This episode was fine. Dear God, that sounds so condescending and brutal. The animation was, as usual, top-notch, as was the lighting. Special shout-out to the directing this time around, because that car chase sequence was outstanding, the voice acting was as high quality as usual, and so was the dialogue, and honestly, so was the storytelling and pacing. Basically, on a technical level, this episode of Lower Decks was on par with all the others. And when it comes to the story itself, the plot, well, I could say the same thing. The various emotional beats worked, the jokes worked as well. I enjoyed finally diving a little more into the traumatizing experience that Rutherford's memory loss must have been. We also got some nice relationship development between Boimler and Mariner, as well as a different side to Freeman, one that shows that she is truly proud of the work that she and her crew does. And yeah, the balance between being a Star Trek episode and a New Generation animated sitcom episode was found, as well as the balance between the high adrenaline car chases and the more rested, grounded character moments at the bar. Okay, so as you can see, my general thoughts, my general opinions are very positive. So why am I being so dry and cold, and why do I not want to go in depth, I guess? It's simply because it wasn't great. But here's the thing, it wasn't bad either, nor was it simply passable. No, it was good. But it wasn't a standout or an innovative project. It's one of those episodes that delivers, I guess, more of the same. But please don't get me wrong, I don't mean that in a bad way. Every Star Trek show, especially those 90s ones, needs and has a whole bunch of episodes that don't push the limit or blow the mind. Episodes that simply exist to exist. Because it's these plentiful episodes that simply exist that make the show the show. They make the show what the show is. I feel like I've said this before, but as I said, these episodes are plentiful, especially in 90s Trek, and this is essentially a 90s Trek show, even though it's coming out today, so yeah, we're bound to say this now and then. That's it. It's as simple as that. At the end of the day, it was a good episode. I have nothing much to dive into. An Embarrassment of Duplas was good. It is now time to move on to the Easter eggs and references part of the video, which will be delivered in bullet point form in order to save time. That amount of time being approximately 18 years, because there's so much. Also, they're in a completely random order. Don't ask me why. Duplas are exactly the same as tribbles, except that they're completely different. This is Deep Space Nine and Voyager style cutlery. These are Data bubble bath bottles in the image of, well, Data from the Next Generation. And there's also some lore bottles, also from the Next Generation. Oh, and they float. Insurrection. These are fabric tubes like in the Next Generation pilot. Starbase 25 was once referred to in the animated series. These are Andorian ships, one from the Enterprise era, another one seems newer. This is a model of the USS Cerritos. We've seen various characters build varying styles of model ships before. Boimler wants to wear a scant. We saw those in the Next Generation. These are very similar formal uniforms to the ones seen in Insurrection, and these are the ones from Insurrection. These are Score. No, they are not Aurelian. Quick side note about that. In my Lower Decks Season 1 Episode 2 review, I said that this guy was an Aurelian, but he's not. I was wrong. He's in fact a Score as well, and so are all of these fine folks from the latest episode. There are subtle differences, like for example the thick plumage on the neck. This has all been confirmed and explained by artists that actually worked on the original animated series. Do keep in mind though, although we have only ever seen Score in Lower Decks from a visual continuity standpoint, it has also been confirmed by one of the show's producers that the intent was originally Aurelian. Anyway, Arcadians from Star Trek IV, a Mazarian as seen in The Next Generation, a Tellarite, but that looks more like a Discovery one than the previous Lower Decks ones. These guys are from the same unnamed species as M from the animated series. This officer is also of an unnamed species, the same one as Riker's first officer in Lower Decks. These are Antidians, first seen in The Next Generation. This is a Gorn, a biker Gorn, more precisely. This is a Ferengi, Benzite, Lurian, Okana from The Next Generation. This is Captain Shelby. What? Yeah, that's right. She's back and she got a captaincy. Next to her is a member of yet another unnamed species, but this time it happens to be the original makeup test for what later became Saru in Discovery. Many people cited this guy as being reminiscent to Boothby, some sort of homage to him perhaps. Among the things mentioned, we hear about quarks. We've seen his establishments pop up all over the place now. We also hear about broiled crota legs in Deep Space Nine, and here we finally see some. Boimler asks for prune juice spritz, most likely a reference to Worf and his warrior drink prune juice. Mariner uses the phrase chaos on the bridge, which is probably a nod to the Next Generation documentary Chaos on the Bridge. We hear mention of Ceti Alpha 4, clearly a reference to Khan. Boimler name drops Rubicon 3, which is a planet from the Next Generation. Mariner claims to be from the Voyager D, but that's a lie, and a pretty bad one considering they're probably only around Voyager A or B at this point, though the J does make an appearance in Discovery. In the new model that Rutherford and Tendi get, which is a Deep Space Nine from Deep Space Nine, is included both Ezri and Jadzia. Both were hosts to Dax. This is an engraved reference to not only Kirk and Spock from the original series and so much more, but also to their friendship, and it's also a big nod to the fanfiction and shipping that has been going on about them for years within the fandom. Apparently, this sign means fashion of Bajor, courtesy of Yerk from Twitter. These are Guinan hats. Guinan wore hats like this in The Next Generation. This is a Dabo table as seen in Deep Space Nine. In the bar, we see models of original series things like the Planet Killer and the Guardian of Forever, though the Guardian returned in Discovery. This is the Phoenix from First Contact, a Vulcan Lurpa from the original series, a Next Generation phaser rifle, a Voyager compression rifle, part of Nomad from the original series. Funny to think that the other part is actually on the Cerritos as seen in the pilot. Back then, I thought that we could only see half of it, but maybe there is only half on the ship and the other half is here. These are Riker outfits, or rather outfits worn by Riker at some point during The Next Generation. This is most definitely a portrait of Amelia Earhart, a hero abducted by aliens, seen again in Voyager. Finally, the long-ass, never-ending list of paintings and frames includes Abaddon from Voyager, Morn from Deep Space Nine, Spock from the original series, a Bajoran sail ship from Deep Space Nine, Apollo, the Enterprise in orbit of a red planet, Telosians from the original series, RX and MRS from the animated series. Thank you, Yerk, for this collage, and thank you yet again for the second one where we have Lokai and Kirk, and a scene from the Gamesters of Triskelion, Ruck, Ahorta, and the entrance to Trelane's castle, all also from the original series. This is one of those species we know exists only thanks to the promotional pictures taken, because as you can see, we can't really notice him in the actual movie, which happens to be Star Trek IV. Another glorious montage from Yerk reveals Balok's puppet, the Salt Vampire, a Taurian anthropoid, two Capellans, as well as Mudd's woman, all from the original series. And to finish this whole thing off, the man himself, Alex Kurtzman, was put into the episode. For those of you that are unaware, Alex Kurtzman is the current creative head of Star Trek and its numerous productions. Boom! There we have it. That's all of it. Oh my goodness. I'm sure I missed some. The list is ever so long. If you found an Easter egg that I didn't notice, that I didn't see, please do comment and tell me all about it. I do want to make a point of saying that it's not because there are many Easter eggs in an episode that I shorten my review. I know it kind of seems this way in this video, but I assure you that's not what I do. I just happen to have nothing much to say about the episode this time around. It happens. There were original series episodes where I got nothing to say, videos like 4 minutes long. It happens. Honestly, good job though. It's a fun episode. I got nothing to say about it too much, but it still was fun. I don't want to come across as like a hater or anything. Alright, like, subscribe, comment, share. A huge thanks to the channel patrons, and as usual, live long and prosper.